Kurt Björklund is here, co-managing partner at Permira. Kurt, thanks very much for joining us today. The biggest loan to a private equity company in 2 years has just taken place, of course, CVC buying Sunrise from one of your companies, the Danish phone company TDC. Does that tell us that bank appetite for funding deals is returning?
Well, I would say yes. The leverage capacity in the market is back, both when it comes to banks lending and the bond markets, but it is back in a more timid way than what you saw in 2006, 2007. And I think that's a good thing. But there is enough leverage to allow us to make the sorts of investments that we're looking to do.
Are we ever going to get back to the 07 levels, though, that type of leverage, or not?
I don't know, Mark, and frankly, that to me is not the most important question. The most important question is whether there is enough financing in the market to allow people like us and corporates to invest.
And is there? I mean, are you having problems financing right now?
No. So the kinds of investment we're making at the moment are about growth as the economy comes out of the recession. And to make those happen, we don't need that much leverage. It's more about an equity investment in a recovery.
I mean, firms are doing deals with levels of equity in Europe not ever seen before. Is that the new normal? Are we seeing a new type of financing in the private equity market across Europe?
I think it is the new normal for the time being, if you excuse the expression. So at the moment, the sorts of investments that we make, we have underlying profit growth of 15-20%. So you take a company like eDreams, which is an online travel business, NDS, which is a leading provider of technology for broadcasters. Those businesses grow, and to make the numbers work for our investors, we don't need that much leverage.
But you say that you're not having a problem financing, so that's taken care of. But will returns be as good as they were back in 2007?
We think that on a risk-adjusted basis, the returns at the moment are more attractive than what they were in 2006, 2007, quite clearly. Now, what that means in terms of absolute returns...
Exactly.
Yes, I think that on if you look at
What sort of returns? Give me numbers.
Mid-20s, between 20 and 30%. That's the sort of return base that we look at the moment as an investor.
IPOs is something that investors are watching closely. I mean, it's picked up this year, hasn't it, from last year's desert that the European IPO market was. Are you planning any IPOs right now or not?
Well, I would say that exits are important for our industry, and we make them happen through trade sales, IPOs, and sales to financial buyers. We've sold 5 companies, basically during the recession, 4 of them to trade buyers, the last one being the disposal of Cognis to BASF. So, and with that, we returned close to 3 billion euros of cash just during the recession to our investors. Now, are IPOs going to come back? Yes, they are coming back, but I think there is there's a need for both buyers and sellers in IPOs to find the right balance of pricing and the macro development. And I don't know when it'll happen.
TDC, the Danish phone company, of which, of course, you hold a big stake, are you going to IPO it?
I think that's one of many options that we're considering for that company.
When?
I don't know. It depends on where the markets are there, if we're going to go down the IPO.
You are considering it, though?
Well, as we've said, we're reviewing different options. Mark, that is a publicly listed company. I'm not going to comment more on that.
And New Look as well? New Look, of course, you pulled the IPO out of this year. When could that happen again?
I think New Look is an interesting business. It continues growing very well throughout the recession. It's done that all the time. It's a great investment for us, and we're in no hurry to exit New Look.
Acquisitions. How much money have you got to spend right now?
Well, at the moment, we are very active in looking at acquisitions, mostly, in fact, through our portfolio companies. So we completed the acquisition of Findus Italy through Birdseye recently. We're looking at a big number of other acquisitions throughout the board. We're also actively investing new money from the fund. So you look at eDreams, Asia Broadcast Satellite, Just Retirement, and a number of other deals we've announced over the last few
Where are you
weeks.
looking? Which countries, which sectors, and talk about price. What do you think of prices right now?
So the themes that we're looking at are about growth. Companies that have grown well throughout the recession and continue doing so are very attractive for private equity investors at the moment. We're also looking at consolidation stories. Europe has been for the last 2 decades, and we believe will continue being for the next 2 decades, a great consolidation play.
So growth, narrow it down, give me more of a clue. I know consumer, industrial, financial services, those types of companies.
Well, let me give you 2 examples. eDreams helps consumers save money on their travel tickets. Asia Broadcast Satellite addresses emerging markets, broadcast communication and data communication. Those kinds of things, the underlying trends of consumers wanting value and emerging market
A
growth.
lot of secondary buyouts have taken place, aren't they? Why is that? I mean, are you ignoring secondary buyouts, or are primary buyouts your main focus right now?
I don't think our industry can create its track record by selling companies back and forth to each other. So ultimately there has to be an exit either to public markets or to industrial buyers. So that's the first thing I'd say. I think the second thing is in some cases secondary buyouts are very attractive if you believe you can do something completely different with the company that you're buying.
Okay, let's put you on the spot again. I put you on the spot twice with New Look and TDC. View Entertainment. Are you interested in View Entertainment? There's been a bit of talk that you're having a look at it. View Entertainment, which of course owns cinemas in the UK, has talked to an investment bank about either selling itself or doing something with the business. I mean, are you interested? Is that the sort of company you're looking at?
Well, Mark, I would obviously not comment on air about any specific investment opportunities.
Yeah.
So I can't talk about that.
Is that the area, though, that you'd be interested in? You know, entertainment, cinemas? Is that a marketplace that you like the look of?
We have a big consumer franchise across the world. About 40-45% of the money we've invested historically is in that sort of space.
Talk to me about fees. Will fees decrease? Management fees? What's the outlook for that right now?
I think the management fees in our industry will be subject to a negotiation with limited partners the next time around when people go and fundraise, and I don't know where that sort of supply-demand balance will settle. I think time will show.
Yeah. I mean, private equity, it's had a tough year or so, hasn't it, since the peaks of 2007? I mean, would you say it's back? I mean, the total value of deals in this quarter is at its highest since the second quarter of 2008. I mean, is private equity back? Because it's had a bad rap, hasn't it? People saying private equity is dead post the crisis. Sum up where it is right now for us.
I think where private equity is now, it has shown that it has managed through the crisis well. So the way private equity has defended its portfolio companies, both in terms of the balance sheets and the operating structures of the businesses, has been first class. So the portfolios are coming out well. You see money being deployed at the moment in attractive investment opportunities, and the private equity firms are starting to return significant amounts of cash back to investors again. So I think private equity is doing well.
Kurt, thanks for joining us today. Permira Advisers, Kurt Björklund.